Lavender City again, back with some real horrifying stories, as it is obvious that strange and weird things can happen and exist anywhere. You may never know exactly what the coming moment has in store for you. For instance, gas stations. An establishment that sells fuel for automobiles, mostly located somewhere near a highway, could make one so terrified that when somebody tries to recall, shudder into complete terror and make one difficult to breathe. So, there are some real scary gas station stories that can blow away one's mind and can steal away one's breath easily. The first scary gas station story. It was me and my girlfriend. We were in a city in Texas, right off the highway, and we stopped at a tiny little gas station to get some beer and chips and such. For some reason, after we pulled in, I felt the need to say, I actually think I need to come in with you this time. Which is really weird because I usually always stay in the car whenever we go places. Or if I do get out, I don't ever feel the need to announce the entrance of a woman. Everything felt normal. We were kind of just laughing and joking around about that half-naked model girl looking like a woman, having a cutout and had a super pixelated face. After a while, the women started looking at all of the beer, and I was being really indecisive. I'm not sure why I was feeling that way, but suddenly, I felt like me and my girlfriend, we both were getting really sketched out, so I just grabbed 2 coconut margarita type drinks without even thinking about it, and rushed to the counter, thinking that we need to get out of there really quickly. There was this growing feeling of being watched. It was like pure malice that I haven't felt before. I can't really describe it. There was this old Hispanic man leaning on the ice cream cooler right on the counter and pretty much watching every customer. Everything just felt slow. It's hard to explain what exactly was going on at the time. When I put my things on the counter, the man started smiling at us really widely and then started talking in a very strange way. It was like he was trying to be charming or personable, but it really just came off as really creepy. Outside the door, I can see a man in a red jacket also just staring through the doors and just watching and waiting. It's pretty obvious now. These men are waiting for us. It's really hard to explain the overwhelming feeling of dread that we had, and I didn't really think about it until we were driving out of the parking lot. The man in the red jacket was still circling the building and watching us as the car drove off. The city we were in, it has a pretty bad reputation for having a lot of human trafficking victims coming in and out. And I honestly think that they were just waiting to find the perfect victim. I honestly think that if I hadn't gone in with my girlfriend when I did, she probably would have been taken. Or maybe they would have taken me from the car. I've never had such an intense looming feeling of doom paranoia in my life. It seems very mundane, but it was definitely a very close call. We kept discussing it for the rest of the night. We're really lucky that we went in together and got out as quickly as we could. I mean, who knows what could have happened. The second scary gas station story. It was about 2 years ago on Halloween. My best friend and I were leaving a club in Dallas, and we stopped at the gas station to pick up some snacks and refreshments. The guy comes up to me and then tells me that I look pretty. At this point, I'm pretty drunk and I'm not really worried about a dang thing. So I just thank him with a smile and continue looking for munchies. He then starts to follow me to the gas station, but I kind of just shrug it off at the time. Me and my friend pay and we're walking out, when it comes up behind us and asks where we're going. At this point, I'm just thinking, screw off. We say that we're going home and he seemed to take the hint and left us alone. My friend was planning on driving us home in my car since I was really unfit to drive. We're about 3 blocks from my car when we noticed the car driving really slow right behind us. We went back a few times and that's when we realized it's the guy from the gas station following us. We decided that it's not a good idea to lead him back to my car. So we decided to turn around and walk a different way back towards the street where the clubs are. He makes an illegal U-turn and follows us. He then rolls down his window and then shouts at us, asking me if we need a ride. I've been politely saying no thank you, we're good. I think we just made a wrong turn. But he continues to follow us. We sped up a bit, and at his speed, he called out there once again through the passenger window, asked me again if we wanted to ride. I tell him to please stop following us, sir. I'm going to have to call the police. He then proceeded to call me a really nasty name before taking off. Yeah, so the weird guy from the gas station that decided to follow us. Hopefully we don't encounter you again. The third scary gas station story. When I was around 17 to 18 years old, I was driving home from a friend's house after a movie marathon. It was around 1 a.m. when I left. I was not quite halfway, my gas light came on, so I stopped my car at the gas station. The gas station was pretty well lit and in a pretty open space. I drove up to the pump and looked around my car mirrors before getting out. As I was starting to pump the gas, this normal-looking guy came down to the gas station shop and started smoking a cigarette. The pump kept clicking off and not working, so I started messing with it, trying to make it work. There was a guy there who started watching me and laughing at me. I assumed that he was just laughing to himself while watching a teenage girl trying to pump gas. After getting maybe about a fourth of the gallon, I decided to give up and move. After this point, if I wouldn't have done everything, I probably would have been screwed. When I got back into my car, I checked all of my mirrors before starting the car, and that's when I saw the guy walking up to my car. He was smiling, and he started walking up to the driver's side window. Then after taking a kind of pause for a moment, he just smiled and walked to the passenger window. He even stuck his head all the way inside through my open car window to talk to me. The conversation follows. I know this seems really weird, but I promise I'm not a creep or anything. My car broke down and I really need a ride. It's just a half a mile up the road. I then replied, I really wish I could help you, but again, I really don't know you. I clearly get what you're saying, but no. If I had a truck or something, I'd have offered you a ride in the back of the truck. But for now, I'm sorry I'm not able to help you out. All of a sudden, he looked really pissed off and yanked at my door, but I had already got the idea what he was up to and started my car. He tried to reach for my inside door handle right through the window, but I somehow managed to get away from there. I called the police later as well. They looked at the gas station's cameras, and right after I left, he got into his red SUV and drove off. I would have been screwed. If he would have come to the driver's side window, he would have grabbed me if I had not have shut my car off. I wouldn't have been able to drive off in time. I'm really fortunate for being so cautious. Fourth scary gas station story. About 2 years ago, I was at my house with my younger sister and our friend. We were about 20 to 21 years old at the time, and all the females were really hungry and decided to go out and have some sushi. On the way to the restaurant, I noticed that I was really low on gas, so I stopped to get some. I pulled up to the pump and parked the car. I went into the gas station to pay while my sister and our friend waited in the car. As I was walking across the parking lot into the store, I noticed a man that started staring at me with a really creepy smirk on his face. We made eye contact and he yelled across the parking lot, "You're beautiful. Why aren't you smiling?" I didn't respond or even acknowledge him. However, a young woman happened to witness this and then said to him, "Don't tell her to smile, leave her alone. She doesn't have to do anything for you." I thanked her and continued to walk into the store. As I stood patiently in line, the same man walked inside. He came over to me pretty much instantly while I was in line and started to touch me. He started to rub my arms and lower back, and then I pulled away and he said wildly, "Get away from me. I don't even know you. Don't touch me, or I will defend myself." Some of the other customers and the cashier were watching us. At the time, he whispered in my ear that I need to shut up so that people don't think he's a creep. Suddenly, the man ran out of the store and walked toward my car. I ran after him. He opened the car door and started to say something to my sister. I quickly pulled him back by yanking the collar of his shirt and then punched him in the face. After that, he got in his car and drove away. The fifth scary gas station story. One day after work around 4 or 5 p.m., a girl and I decided to go and see a movie. It was a rough shift and she and I felt like a movie would be really nice. She asked if we could stop by her house so that she could change her clothes from our work uniform. I said that's fine since it was maybe about 5 minutes away. We stayed at her house a bit. Then we had a quick snack and got in my car. She asked if we could stop by the gas station by our house so that she could grab a Red Bull. Once again, I was fine with that because it was near her house. I drove to the gas station and the only parking spot was on the side of an abandoned car wash next to the gas station. To give you an idea of the situation, the gas station and car wash were right next to each other, both entrances facing the same way. It was entirely dark outside. The gas station was a fairly run-down one and didn't have any lights at the gas pumps like most do, so it was pitch black out there, except for the light that was coming from my car. There was only this semi-truck except us that was on the other side of the gas station, as the parking spots were not close. I decided to stay in the car and my friend got out. I locked my doors after she got out, as it was a forced habit to do so. I went on my phone a bit, and after a couple of minutes, I saw a light flash on the driver's side mirror of my car. I turned to look since it was pointed right in my direction. The truck driver had a flashlight pointed at my window, and he kind of just held it there for a few seconds. I was kind of freaked out, but assumed that he had a reason for doing so. He then began walking towards my window, still with the flashlight on. I rolled down my window no more than an inch, assuming that maybe he was just going to tell me to move my car, but he stopped when he got about 2 to 3 feet away from my car window. I just turned around at that point. I was pretty scared, maybe because I was not sure about what that person was trying to do as he was acting weird. So I just rolled my window back up and waited for my friend. I'm still watching the guy just in case, and I see him rummage around in the front part of the semi-truck for a little bit. Then he stopped and turned back to my car again. There was something in his hand, but I'm not sure what, and I'm really glad I don't know. He was walking towards my window, and he was this time even saying something, and it was at a rather wild volume. He got to my door this time and tried to open it. He kept trying to pull the handle a couple of times, but he couldn't open it. Then he started to pull it a little more aggressively. My friend came out of the gas station and she was walking towards my car. She looked scared as well, and I was also scared. The guy saw her coming and quickly went back to his truck and drove away as quickly as possible. I'm not entirely sure what happened, or what was going to happen, or what he was trying to do. The only good theory that me and my friend had was that maybe he saw that I was a girl and that I was alone and assumed that I would be a good target to kidnap or something. Last but not least, the 6th scary gas station story. So, this happened to me at night. I was at the office later than normal, but not excessively when I left at about 6 and realized I needed gas. So I decided to stop at the gas station that was about 2 minutes away from my job. It was still pretty light out because of summer. I always go to this gas station and nothing has ever happened before, so I was pretty relaxed and just tired in general from work. While I was pumping gas, there was a truck with 2 guys that pulled up in front of my car, but perpendicularly weird. But I just kept filling my car so that I can head home. The 2 guys just looked like 2 normal guys from the country. They were a bit older, around 40s and 50s, but I still felt a little uncomfortable. The guy driving was talking softly, but I just kind of ignored him at first. I honestly didn't even realize he was even trying to talk to me. The guy then yelled at me, which really caught me off guard. I think I said something along the lines of, "Can I help you?" The driver was then motioning for me to come closer to talk, which I didn't because I just felt really off about the whole thing. The guy finally spoke in a normal tone and said that they were looking for the shortest covered bridge. Now, this wasn't too weird of a question because it's a little hard to find without a map. Briefly, I told the guy the directions from the gas station, and at that time, while talking, he tried to grab the receipt that was in my hand. This is when all of my red flags totally went off. The driver then asked if I would lead them there. It was out of my way, so I said no, and then I sat in my car and started it. He then yelled at me, spoke really loudly, and said that I can leave my car and go in their truck to direct them there. Then I wouldn't have to waste my gas or something. Just the thought of that made me really scared. I got in my car and I didn't respond. The truck didn't move, so I had to back out. I was pretty worried about them following me. They did follow my car out, but I took a few random side streets rather than drive right to the highway. Oh, and also, during the whole time of this, The passenger was just staring at me, also in a really creepy way. The whole thing was really weird. Trying to get me in their car, thinking about that just really scared me off. I ended up calling the non-emergency police line to give them a description of the truck and let them know that they tried to get me in their vehicle. Either way, it's the creepiest thing I've ever experienced. This happened about 2 months ago, and I still get chills whenever I think about it. See, these things can go wrong or worse anytime or anywhere. Gas stations are just simple places, so one should always stay careful and be ready for anything.